Baylor football coach Dave Aranda with Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and David Smoke on 365 Sports. How are you doing? I know that it's been a tough couple of days, the loss of your father, and you're here. And how are you? How are you right now?
No, I appreciate the question, and it's good to be with you guys. Yeah, I love my dad, so I miss him. It's interesting. I remember growing up, my brother and I, Michael, and so he's a basketball coach there in Redlands still. And so Mike was way involved in, taking care of my dad at the end. He had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so, going back with, went back home just about, 4 days ago, and was able to be there with my mom, and then to be around Mike and his family. And we have the celebration of life here coming up really right after this. And so we're going to go and spend time with him there, and with everybody there. But it's a sad thing, and I think, the emotions that you have, you can't really control. So I'm going to try to get through the day without crying today. So we'll see.
We appreciate you being here, and everyone else does as well. Everyone thinking about you and the family.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Dave, this is the start of the, where you kind of the official start of the season almost, where you start getting to it. Do you get antsy to start coaching again? Like, now that you've been off spring, you've had this wall of recruiting, then you got a little wave of recruiting, but do you get antsy around this time?
No, I appreciate that. I don't. Mm-hmm. I think this time right now is way important team-wise for work ethic, for leadership, for, hey, there's going to be, a couple days that they're going to have off here at the end of the month, and the lights at the end of the tunnel. How are they working with that in mind? How are they working with, hey, football is going to be starting up again? And so those things are little micro things maybe, but when the season comes, they're going to attach a win and a loss to things, and that's going to be way blown up, And so it's being developed now, or it ain't. And so the ability to really kind of hone in on that, and I was just talking with Vic Valoria about all that this morning actually, and so way important that we finished strong. I think we started strong.
You have a handful of guys that are here. A couple of them notable. Blake, obviously, being here, you'd made the decision, but to have him in front of all of these people is probably a big adjustment for him. Mike Smith, a newcomer, was interesting to see him listed as well. And a couple of your younger playmakers. Can you kind of just take us into the thought process of why the group that you brought with you and what you expect from them here?
No, appreciate that. Yeah, I think Blake, his growth has been way cool to see. I think he I think for all of us, man, I mean, to sit with, the disappointments, and to sit with the stuff that didn't go right, and to sit with the criticism, and to sit with the failure. I mean, nobody likes that, and I feel like, there's so much learning within that, though, and you have to learn to love that part about you. And I think that's been a journey for Blake. And I think, when he talks to the team, it's just a different level of person that's there now. And it's just way cool, And so I'm pulling for all of our guys in our team, but I'm way pulling for him because I think, it hasn't been easy, and I think he's earned it. Then, I look at like Drake Dabney. Drake has been just solid and has been, there's a class about Drake, and then there's just a way strong heart about him. I think you guys will see that today. And I think for him it's been, hey, the next step for you is people respect you, people look up to you, right? You have a voice, let's use it, And the how you hold yourself. Right? We need you to be expanding that view to other people. And I think he's starting to do that. And so that's been neat. And Josh Cameron's what a story that is.
Yep.
From being a walk-on to it got to be like, hey, if we need somebody to block somebody, if we need somebody to dig out this safety, and then it became, hey, if we need somebody to catch this ball on 3rd and 3 versus press coverage. I mean, Josh is continuing, whatever roadblock has been put in front of that young man, he's knocked him down. And so I think it's the same thing with him. It's going to be, finding your voice, getting both feet in the ground, looking people in the eye, and I think that's the whole reason why we're here anyways. But to keep that front of mind, and I think Josh is an example of that. TJ Franklin, I'm way proud of. I think TJ has this summer has really spoken up. I think there's been opportunities for him to say something, and he has, and it's been way strong. And I think I think it's important to do. And it's one of those things to where of the failures from last year, one of the main lessons I learned was that you can't change people, and you can't really save them. And so people change when they want to change, and to see the growth with TJ, it's pretty neat. Because it's similar in that high expectations for himself, and to kind of get the view out from him to see others and hold people to that standard. Because this is us, man. You're a part of this thing. This is us. And so I think his leadership in that area has been great. And Mike Smith is someone I think you guys are really going to enjoy. I think there's a presence about Mike. There's a physicality that jumps off the screen just when you get up close to him. And I think, doesn't say a lot, but when he talks, people listen. And, defensively, when there's something that has needed to be said or something more importantly that needed to be done, Mike was the guy that did it. And so that came on way early. I think our first spring practices, there was some practices where did anyone make a tackle other than Mike Smith? And so he was able to get the guys quick, and he's been doing great with them since. 2000,
your first year, the COVID year, was like almost a mulligan, to speak. 2-7. It was such a difficult year. And then, wow, the explosive 12-2 that really kind of came out of nowhere. Then last year appears to be a step back, even though it's a bowl team. Is this a year where you have to reestablish, not you as a head coach, but the program has to get back on track, otherwise you start to slip?
No, I appreciate that question. I know, I think there's a great line by T.S. Eliot, and he talks about teach us to care and not to care. Teach us to sit still. And I think that's way instructive to me, because I think, in all of the criticism or any of the we could use the word realities, which would probably be the better word to use. There's so much that you can learn from. And so you want to be able to take that and look at it and see what's really being said to you without, being too attached to it, And so I think too many times if people choose not to be fierce with reality, and they kind of shun it, and they don't get any better. I don't know if they grow, And so I think like last year, the failures for me were, trying to change people, and then not really embracing the transfer portal. And I think a lot of that, I don't know, it's hard. It's difficult to say, but I don't know if there's a hubris maybe, and that maybe I could change somebody. Or maybe that, hey, this group is really young, but hey, we can coach them, we can get them there. And I think all those things are way exposed. And so I think you have to look at that and get better from that and see that and then address it. But then I think you can't, once you've done that, I think you've kind of done that. I think you've cared, and so now you have to not care. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, just kind of following up on that, how much easier does it make it to approach a season when you've attacked a mistake that you've made and you're able to clear it and go, well, I'm not just going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, are you a little bit more clear-headed because you know that all else, I know I'm not going to do that thing that I didn't like how it worked out?
Yeah, well, there's for sure a bunch more potential obstacles to come that'll be different. But I think, when there is a level of introspection, and then just really what I would say would be like really being able to see the truth, man, right? And to not, get caught up in a narrative or get caught up in your head, but to really kind of deal with what's real, And it's crazy because people are much harder. Football is a little bit easier. When I was actually a coach, I would spend so much time with this, with just ball, and there'd be narratives that be built up, but hey, if we just took this guy away, or if we just had this stunt, or if we just attacked this protection, or anytime 18's in the game, it's this, and we can attack it this way, then that was, you didn't get caught up by the words or the, I guess, narratives again. And so I think you try to do the same thing here. It's a little bit harder though to do. Yeah.
Dave Aranda, Baylor football coach, with us on 365 Sports. Were you too nice to everybody last year? Was that kind of what you had mentioned about letting some things slip through the crack and players kind of had entitlement? Are you a tougher Dave Aranda or just a more focused on what might be happening, Dave Aranda?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as far as like accountability, like if anything happened, if it was maybe late for a class or miss a class or any of those things, there was always accountability for that. What there really wasn't last year was like the big stick, I guess, at the end. And so I would, after these things, I would sit down and talk with them. And I don't know if the focus was probably too much on actually trying to get down to the root of why this is happening and trying to help the individual, where, if you weren't in charge of a football team and actually trying to win games, then what you would do then instead is do what's best for the team as opposed to do what's best for the individual. And so I think learning the discernment there, and these are the outlines of what we got, right? And we're going to give you some grace, but then you're going to be suspended, or there's a chance to be kicked off the team, or any of these things. And that's happened this year, and so I think like the ability of the team to kind of be way cohesive and way on the same page. From the last couple times I've been here, it's been, team-wise, why are we doing what we're doing? What is all this about? It's been guys walking to the right, and it's been me, hey, turn around, let's go to the left. We should really, it's this way. This is the way to where we want to go, And so what's been cool about this is that whether it's coaches or players, the guys that have come on the team, or staff, we have guys that were here 2 years ago that are back, they're coming because we go to the left, and so that's just such a huge difference. I can't magnify that too much, or enough rather, that people are coming because of the path we're on, and makes all the difference.
Last question. I know you got to go, and again, appreciate your time. Do you feel pressure to win this year?
I don't. Yeah, I mean,
you can't really get caught up in all that.
No, I mean, I feel what I feel is like we've got some guys like Blake, for an example, or Mike Smith. I want people to know Mike. I want people to know, Monterey Baldwin, and I want Monterey to feel like he's worth it and good enough to get all the things that are possible out there for him. I feel pressure for that, and I think like to get people to where, hey, all of this, all these lights, all these things, they're for you, right? Now, let's get you to be your best and get all this crap out the way so that this can come to you. And so I think there's a pressure that comes with that. I think if you get into the winning and the losing, or the winning rather, then that can get in the way of those people. Yeah.
Dave, again, our thoughts and prayers with you and the family, with your father's passing. We appreciate your time, and good luck with it.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you, guys.
Baylor football coach Dave Aranda on 365 Sports.